Hey everybody, I'm Jesse, and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks. And today I'm going to talk about 5 things that Generation X learned as kids. But before I get into that, I'd like to welcome our newest members of Gen X Thinks: Kathy Schneider, Vintage 65, April Lucas, and our first ever member, Gen X Dar. So I'd like to send out a special thank you to those 4 subscribers and new members. I'll be putting out videos just for you on a variety of topics, but mostly about politics and current events type of stuff. So if you're interested in that and you haven't joined already, please consider going over and becoming a member. And you can identify our members in the chat because they have the little Gen X Thinks icon next to their username. All right. So 5 things that we learned as Generation X kids. Number 1, only death was fatal. Everything else could be walked off. All right. Pour something that burns on it, maybe a bandage, and if you went crying to your parents over something that was less than fatal, it would most likely piss them off. You weren't going to get babied and coddled. You were probably going to get something real to cry about. And we all know what that means, especially if you were interrupting your mom during soap operas, during General Hospital or something. She was not happy. That was back before, you could pause live TV and stuff. So she would miss Luke and Laura's wedding or something because you skinned your knee. Yeah, your ass was grass. So the only time she was willing to leave the couch during General Hospital was for death, right? And if your little brother was laying down there crying and you went in and told her something, told her that he was hurt, she'd say some shit like, he better be dead or everybody's getting their ass whooped. So you'd have to go out there and smother him or something. So he'd be unconscious when she got out there, or everybody was getting their ass whooped. So yeah, there was no crying in Gen X childhood. Just more ass whooping. Number 2, life is a bitch and then you die. We didn't get, there wasn't this big stigma about bullies. Bullies were a part of life that had to be dealt with, right? You could punch a bully in the nose and hope that he didn't want to fight. You know what I'm saying? But then some of those bullies liked to fight. That was their thing. They'd stomp your ass in the ground. But if your parents were like mine, you didn't go running home crying about a bully. Because if I did that, they'd beat my ass. That was just point blank. Because I didn't stand up for myself. They wanted me to stand up for myself, and that was it. So I either punched him in the nose or tried to ignore him. But very rarely would I run into a bully that actually wanted to fight and enjoyed it, but they did exist. They weren't the fun ones. They weren't fun. But normally, even if you did end up in a full-on fight, then even if you got your ass kicked, the bully'd go pick on somebody else next time. So that was good. You get his respect in the very least. So, and that's just the way it was. There were things and other people that you had to deal with. Life wasn't easy. Life was a bitch. And that was it. And we learned that quick. I mean quick in elementary school. And I think that served us well through life because we don't expect handouts and coddling and all this stuff. Life's a bitch and then you die. Risk versus reward. Number 3. Now, we all remember the merry-go-round, and there was always one kid who didn't want to take much risk, and he would sit in the middle, or she would sit in the middle right by the center post, either hugging it, or maybe if they were really brave, they would sit on top of it and just spin around in a circle, a real tight circle. No force pushing them out. And then you had the kids, the majority of the kids would sit out toward kind of in the middle between the center and the edge, and they would sit in the middle and they would hug that horizontal bar and spin around. And then there were kids like me who would get all the way out to the edge and grab onto that vertical bar and spin around with their feet out in the air. And we were the ones who just got slung off just randomly into trees and other people and swing sets. So risk versus reward. We knew that out on the edge, hanging on to the vertical bar was the most fun, but it also held the most risk of physical injury and possibly long-term consequences. So yeah, risk versus reward. We learned that from the old merry-go-round, that old spinning piece of rusted iron. Yeah. Somebody's always got it worse than you do. There's always something worse over the horizon. There's always something worse to cry about. You could come in with your finger dislocated and you know, crying to your parents, and they'd threaten to give you something to cry about. If you want to cry, they'd give you something to cry about. Like your dislocated finger was nothing, you know. And no matter what you came in with, they always had that. Well, I'll give you something to cry about. You stop that crying. I'm not listening to that crying for the next 3 hours. Hush up. So there was always something worse over the horizon, right? No matter how bad it was, there was always something worse. And we grew up knowing that, and that has followed us through today. So it kind of makes us appreciate what we have. I would say more than other generations, more than other people. We're more appreciative of the small things that we have, because we know that no matter how bad we are right now, how bad our situation is right now personally, it can get worse. There's something worse to cry about. So that's a valuable lesson we learned as kids. And number 5, we learned how valuable self-reliance is. And this is a true story. When I was 13 or 14, my father got a DUI and mandatory rehab. So he literally went, and it was in-house rehab. He had to go to this place for a month for rehab, and check in there and stay there for a month. He couldn't leave. It was like jail. So he just left me with the key to the house. And for a month, I was there with my brothers and sisters, and that was it. It was just, I was the complete man of the house for a month at the age of 13, I think it was. So I had to take care of everything, and it was all on me at an early age. And I think that self-reliance, it was hard, and it's horrible to think about, you know, parents treating a kid that way, leaving them there, you know, for a month in charge of other kids. But at the same time, now I'm thankful for it, because I learned that I can do things that I didn't think I could do. I can do things that I don't believe I can do. So I'm very, very self-reliant. There's nothing really that I won't tackle. Not much. If I want to do something, I'll at least try it. I might fail, but I'm not afraid of failing. So, and I think that that's a Gen X trait. I think there are a lot more of you out there who are like me in that will try it. Hell, you know, because even though that situation that I was in was tough, a lot of y'all have been in tougher situations than that, or at least similar situations, and you can relate to that experience that I had. So I think that's a Gen X wide trait, just the resilience and self-reliance, and that's why, because we were in situations like that where we didn't have a choice. We had to do it. What else are you going to do? You know what I mean? You have to do it. So once you're put in that corner and you have to do something you don't think you can do, then you realize something about yourself. You realize that you can. You're capable of doing more than you believe. And I'll leave you there with that. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. If you like to support the channel, you can always become a member and get access to members only videos and those little perks they have, the special emojis and badges and stuff. Cool little perks just for being part of the group. Another way to support the channel is to click on that super thanks button down there right below this video. Thank you for those of you who do that. I sincerely appreciate it. Or you can hop over to Buy Me a Cup of Coffee and buy me a cup of coffee, and I'll put that link down in the description. If you're interested in Gen X gear, you can hop over to Redbubble and check that stuff out there. We've got pretty cool stuff, Gen X Thinks and Gen X branded stuff, stickers and coffee mugs, t-shirts, all kinds of cool stuff. And I'll put that link down in the description as well. If you can't or don't want to support the channel in any of those ways, you can always do so by sharing these videos on your social media. That helps out a lot. Thank you very much. And if you have any ideas for future episodes of Gen X Thinks, please put those down in the comments, or you can email us, and the email's over on the channel page. And as always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.